In the grand tapestry of ancient Egypt, a land ruled by mighty pharaohs, one figure stands out, a woman who dared to claim the ultimate power. Her name was Hatshepsut, and her story is one of ambition, power, and a legacy that was almost erased from history. She was not the first woman to hold power in Egypt, but she was the first to rule as a full pharaoh. Adopting the complete royal titles, and even the ceremonial false beard, how did a woman ascend to the highest throne in a deeply patriarchal society? It's a tale of clever politics, divine claims, and a reign that brought unprecedented peace and prosperity to the Nile Valley. Hatshepsut was born into royalty around 1507 BC, the daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I and his great royal wife Amos. She was of pure royal blood, a fact that she would later use to great advantage. From a young age, she was destined for a life of influence. Married to her own half-brother, Thutmose II, as was common practice to keep the royal lineage pure. This union made her the great royal wife, the most powerful position a woman could hold in Egypt. But fate, it seems, had a much grander plan for her. Thutmose II's reign was short, lasting only a few years before his death. He left behind a single male heir, a young boy named Thutmose III, born to a lesser wife. According to tradition, the young Thutmose III was the rightful heir to the throne. Due to his young age, Hatshepsut, his aunt and stepmother, was appointed as his regent, ruling on his behalf until he was old enough to take the reins himself. For a few years, everything proceeded as expected. Hatshepsut governed Egypt effectively, managing the affairs of the state while her young nephew grew. But this was not enough for her. In a move that stunned the Egyptian court and defied centuries of tradition, Hatshepsut declared herself pharaoh. Around the 7th year of her regency, she was crowned with all the pomp and ceremony befitting a king, becoming a co-ruler alongside Thutmose III. To justify this unprecedented power grab, Hatshepsut's supporters crafted a brilliant propaganda campaign. They created a story inscribed on the walls of her magnificent mortuary temple, known as the Divine Birth Myth. This story claimed that the god Amun-Ra, the most powerful deity in the Egyptian pantheon, had visited her mother Amos in the guise of her father. Thutmose I, the inscriptions depict Amun-Ra declaring that Hatshepsut would be the ruler of all Egypt by claiming to be the direct daughter of a god. She elevated her status far above any mortal claimant to the throne, including the young Thutmose III. It was a masterstroke of political and religious maneuvering. Hatshepsut's reign, which lasted for about 22 years, was not marked by military conquests, which were the hallmark of many male pharaohs. Instead, she focused on peace, economic prosperity, and monumental building. Projects that would leave a lasting mark on Egypt. Her rule is considered a golden age. She re-established trade routes that had been disrupted during previous conflicts, most famously launching a major expedition to the mysterious land of Punt, believed to be somewhere on the coast of East Africa. This expedition was a tremendous success. Her ships returned laden with exotic treasures: frankincense, myrrh, live trees, ebony, ivory, and exotic animals. These goods enriched Egypt and bolstered her reputation as a successful and prosperous ruler. The entire journey was meticulously documented in colorful reliefs on the walls of her temple at Deir el-Bahri. Perhaps Hatshepsut's greatest legacy is her architectural vision. She was one of ancient Egypt's most prolific builders, commissioning hundreds of construction projects throughout Upper and Lower Egypt. Her projects were grander and more numerous than any of her Middle Kingdom predecessors. She ordered the construction of magnificent temples, towering obelisks, and impressive shrines. Her crowning achievement is her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri, a stunning masterpiece of ancient architecture. The temple, called Djeser Djeseru, or Holiest of Holies, is a series of colonnaded terraces carved into a sheer cliff face. It stands today as a testament to her power and her unique vision. Its design unlike any other temple in Egypt. She also erected a pair of massive red granite obelisks at the Temple of Karnak, the largest religious complex in the world. At the time, they were the tallest obelisks on Earth. One of them still stands today, a silent witness to her incredible reign. A fascinating aspect of Hatshepsut's rule is how she portrayed herself. In the early years of her reign, she was depicted as a traditional queen. However, as she consolidated her power, her official image began to change. In statues and reliefs, she was shown with the full regalia of a male pharaoh. She wore the kilt, the traditional crowns, and even the ceremonial false beard. Her physique was often depicted as masculine, with broad shoulders and a muscular build. This was not an attempt to hide her gender. Instead, it was a political statement. The role of pharaoh was inherently masculine in the Egyptian worldview. There was no word for a female king. To be seen as a legitimate ruler, she had to conform to the established iconography of kingship. She was a woman, yes, but she was also a pharaoh, and she needed her people to see her as such. For over 2 decades, Hatshepsut ruled a stable and flourishing Egypt. But what happened to her? Her end is shrouded in some mystery. She died around 1458 BC in her late 40s. For a long time, the cause of her death was unknown. However, recent scientific research has shed some light on this question. In 2007, a mummy that had been discovered in an unmarked tomb in the Valley of the Kings was officially identified as Hatshepsut. CT scans of the mummy revealed that she was an obese woman who likely suffered from diabetes and died from bone cancer that had spread throughout her body. Researchers also found evidence of a skin lotion she may have used, which contained a carcinogenic substance, possibly contributing to her illness. It was a rather mundane end for such an extraordinary life. After her death, her co-ruler and nephew, Thutmose III, finally ascended to the throne as the sole pharaoh of Egypt. For the first 2 decades of his reign, he seemed to respect his aunt's legacy. But then, something changed. Late in his reign, Thutmose III began a systematic campaign to erase Hatshepsut from history. Her name was chiseled off temple walls, her statues were smashed and buried, and her images were replaced with those of her father, husband, or Thutmose III himself. The number of monuments destroyed was immense. For centuries, the reason for this posthumous attack was a mystery. Was it an act of personal revenge by a nephew whose rightful place had been usurped for so long? Modern scholars now believe the motive was likely more political than personal. Thutmose III probably wanted to erase the precedent of a successful female pharaoh, to ensure a smooth succession for his own son, and to prevent other powerful royal women from aspiring to the throne. By removing her from the official king lists and historical records, he was attempting to restore the traditional male-only line of pharaohs. He almost succeeded. For thousands of years, Hatshepsut's name was forgotten, lost to the sands of time. It was only in the 19th century, when Egyptologists began to decipher the hieroglyphs at Deir el-Bahari, that her story began to re-emerge. By piecing together the clues from shattered statues and defaced inscriptions, they resurrected the story of this remarkable woman. They uncovered a ruler who defied convention and ushered in an era of peace, prosperity, and artistic flourishing. Hatshepsut's reign stands as a powerful reminder that history is often written by the victors. Yet even when they try to erase the past, the stones themselves can speak, telling a story that refuses to be silenced. Her journey from queen regent to mighty pharaoh is a testament to her intelligence, ambition, and political skill. She proved that a woman could rule Egypt just as effectively as any man, leaving behind a legacy that, despite all efforts to destroy it, continues to inspire awe and fascination. We hope you enjoyed this journey back to the time of the pharaohs. To uncover more fascinating tales from the past, be sure to subscribe to our channel, Historical Repos.